Welcome to this alpha special of Talking WoW for the War Within, where we will be taking a look at one of the flagship features for the expansion, Warbands. My name is Tom, and over there with 400 characters to add to his warband, it's Marty.
Hello, I'm over here with my whole warband, and we are a lot of people over here on my side. I don't know how many you are, but I'm pretty sure my warband can take yours in a fight.
Yeah, I'm staying well away from your warband. I'm going to be hiding in the shadows. Marty, what can we say about warbands that maybe hasn't already been said? But to me, this is the feature of the expansion to be most excited about, especially if you play multiple characters.
Yeah, this is so exciting. So obviously we have played a little bit of the alpha, and I've been checking some of these things out a little bit, just to, one thing is to being told something is a certain way, another thing is to actually see it with your own hands.
I love it.
Eyes.
I actually love it.
Both eyes, not hands.
Yes. I love it because we were playing, and I remember you like completing a quest and getting some rep, and you're just like, but I'm going to go log another character to make sure that the rep is also on this other character. And yes, it was there.
Mm-hmm.
So we can confirm that it looks like cross-account reputation is going to be happening. Glad to confirm that, Marty. I'm glad you were, making sure.
At least for the new reputations to begin with. I haven't checked, but I don't think they even. I think they said that it won't be backwards, reactively done yet. But it's something that they might be looking into.
So I believe before the pre-patch of Warbands, we may have our Dragonflight ones done. However, there will be some exceptions that they're looking into for certain reputations. For example, like the Winter Pelt. That's not something that's going to be cross-account, because that's what they're trying to say, like that's something an individual character earned. They earned a new language to speak. But generally, I think across the board, a majority of the reputations are going to be considered cross-account. And I don't know how far this is going to go back. I'm hoping they eventually get all the way back. And, it'd be great for them to do like, the PvP factions as well and things like that. But they're obviously going to run into a few difficulties, with like the Scryers and Aldor, and Burning Crusade if they get that far. So, I don't expect every single thing to be converted, but, hopefully the majority is there. And then going forward, I think we can expect that this is going to be the new norm. And, well, let's take a moment of silence, Marty, because no longer will we need to roll humans anymore, because diplomacy, the best racial in the game, that 10% rep increase is going away. I can see a tear rolling down your cheek right now, Marty. What do we think about this?
I'm ambivalent about it, because on one hand,
that's a big word. That's a big word for this podcast.
Because on one hand, 10% rep bonus, that's huge. That's going away. On the other hand, my priest can now be the elf that he always wanted to be.
Race change number 10 for Marty's main.
Because I've kept... so what I've done previously is that when I'm exalted with everything in the current expansion, I might have race changed him at some point to like a different race, because I didn't just... I want to be something else. But then once the next expansion hits, I race change him back to human, because that red bonus, it's so huge, especially in the beginning of an expansion. So yes, I'm actually kind of happy that it is going away as well, because and it doesn't matter anymore, because you have so many characters. So, well, I do at least. I have so many characters that whatever character I'm playing on, I can just continue the rep grind, and that's amazing.
They're gonna have to get a seriously good racial to replace that. I mean, that's some pressure to deliver there. But moving on, yes, like we're gonna have these warband reputations now, and warband is very much the word being used sort of everywhere, even in game. So I don't know if you've noticed this, Marty, but if you've played through like some of the quests in the opening of the War Within, and then you make another character, and you start doing the same quests again, you'll actually get like visible like text on the quest to say your warband's already completed this. So it's really good to actually know that, oh, I have done these quests before. And hopefully as well, I think there's going to be ways to sort of turn on in the UI to display like quests that have already been completed by your warband as well. So we're not in another Dragonflight situation where you're logging on another character and then you're just like, oh my goodness, it's just chaotic. There's just quest markers everywhere. And I feel like I've done all this stuff. And yeah, that's going to be a huge relief.
Especially if you switch main throughout an expansion, I can tell you that it's very confusing, because I did that in Dragonflight, where I started out on the Evoker and then switched to Priest. And that switch where like, oh, these quests, have I done them before? So it actually became a thing where I was like, when it comes to story, my Evoker is my main, and I go in on the Evoker just to play the story. And then on my Priest, I was like, didn't really play too much besides, raiding and Mythic Plus with that, because it was so confusing. And it's amazing that they are already showing it on the quests alone. So
yeah, and even in great. your reputation bars, if you go in there, you can like hover over them and you can see, oh, this is a warband reputation. This is not a warband reputation. But yeah, I mean, mostly everything new that's going to be added is going to be warband. But I think it's just when you're looking at your legacy stuff, you can be like, okay, that's not account wide. And speaking of account wide, again, something else to be excited for is, a lot of the achievements, I think around 2,000 of the achievements are going to be converted into account-wide status. There's going to be things like, if you've been playing like PvP, for example, and you've got that achievement in Warsong Gulch to like return the flag, they're going to be doing some like cool stuff where they're basically going to be like looking at all the progress across your accounts, and then they're just going to combine that. So if you had like 10 returns on this character, 5 on this one, 5 on another, they're going to combine that, and it's like, oh, you've earned that. That's not going to be the same for every achievement. I think they're looking at them, ones that you've maybe made the most progress on, that will be what stays. But I think they are looking to combine certain ones as well. So it's going to be a very exciting time when that pre-patch hits, just to see, maybe a bunch of achievements popping up that you weren't expecting because you've made like half progress on other characters. And something you might want to do, just a little tip here, is if you've deleted any characters, they're just sitting, on the delete page, you might want to start restoring those, just, especially if they're like a legacy character that you just decided to get rid of on your character sheet. Maybe bring them back, because maybe they've got some progress there sitting that could be useful when the pre-patch goes live.
So two quick things that I also just quickly wanted to mention, something that I tested out that is also under the Warband umbrella, is one of them is the bank. I've unlocked it, I put stuff in it, and it sure enough is there on other characters, so that's good. It works. There's awfully some stuff that I still want to test out a little bit more. For instance, what can actually go in this bank, a lot of stuff like that, but I haven't gotten too far into it to testing that, because that would require me to grind old content on an alpha, so I haven't really gotten into that yet. I've obviously checked out all the new fancy, shiny stuff.
I was going to say, and I'm sure you unlocked all the tabs for this Warband bank as well, because, tab 1 costs a nice, 1,000 gold, but all the way up to tab 5, 2.5 million gold to unlock the last tab on that. I'm not sure how I feel about that, Blizzard. Here's some feedback for you. Make that cheaper.
Well, to be fair, each tab has like almost 100 spaces in there. So just unlock number 2, you have 200 spaces. I know that some people might have a lot of stuff in the bank, but I think so far it seems fairly reasonable.
I don't know, if I end up spending all my money unlocking all the tabs, I'm literally going to have no money to buy anything to put in the bank, so I don't really know if I'm going to do that straight away.
The second thing that I wanted to quickly also mention that is very, very cool, also under the Warband banner, is that when you go into a dungeon, for instance, and I was on a priest, so I used cloth, a male item dropped. I think it was male boots. They automatically, as soon as they hit my bags, they got unlocked in the transmog system, and I logged into my hunter on the alpha as well, and sure enough, there they were, unlocked. So it worked. It's amazing. It's so freaking good, and it should have been like this since the beginning. But it's okay. It's here now, and it's great.
Yeah, it's like we're talking about features, but really they are just heightened quality of life features. But they're going to make a lot of difference, and we're getting sort of unconfirmed reports that actually you might want to start holding some items in your banks or wherever you have the space to maybe do that. Void storage.
Dust it off. Put stuff into it again.
Yeah, get that going. Make a void elf, and it's cheaper to deposit stuff. But yeah, we believe when the pre-patch goes live retroactively, those items are all going to get added to collections. So hold on to stuff if you think it could be valuable, and that'll help you a little bit when the pre-patch goes live.
But it is unconfirmed, right? We need to stress that it's unconfirmed, but we think that's how it's going to work.
Yeah, we think that's how it's going to work, and yeah, I mean, I guess we'll wait and see. I'm hoping, because I've got the legendary Warglaives from Illidan on a character that cannot equip them, so cross your fingers for me that that is the case.
I mean, worst case scenario, that gold that you would have got for selling it now, you will just wait, and if it's not working, then you will just get that gold from selling it later. So I mean, there's no harm in hanging on to it.
Absolutely. Just to wrap up here, we haven't talked about it, but Marty, the new character screen. Oh my goodness. How can one little thing that really has no gameplay impact bring so much joy? So when you first log in, when this update goes live, you're going to see your warband on your character screen, and you get to select like 4 characters that you want to appear around a campfire. You can select like what order they stand around the campfire. You can, click on your character, move them around a little bit. And yeah, it's very cozy, isn't it? Just seeing your characters in a setting like that.
It's so cool. One thing now, Bliss, if you're listening, that could be a little bit cooler is that I think someone mentioned if that little area actually exists in the world, and when you visit, then your characters are there. Just saying, just something, use it or don't.
Just blowing out player housing there on the end of that. Could happen though, the way we're going. But yeah, that was our first little look at Warbands. I mean, overwhelmingly, these changes are just fantastic if you play alts, if you have multiple characters. And even if you don't, this might just encourage you to do that now. And I think, some people that are focused on one character always do have that pressure of, well, this is my main character. I don't want to play alts because I don't want to spread that focus. Now the barriers have dropped, and finally we get to live our true warband life. And I, for one, cannot wait to get started on that. That's what we thought about Warbands. Are you in the alpha? Let us know what you think about Warbands. If you're not in the alpha, please feel free to drop us a question if we didn't cover it on this little episode here. We'd be happy to look into that for you and answer any questions you might have. You can find Talking WoW on YouTube, and you can find us on Twitter at Talking WoW. I've been Tom.
I've been Marty.
And we've been Talking WoW
Alpha.
Thanks for tuning in, champion! Did you enjoy this episode of Talking WoW? If so, why not drop a review on your podcast catcher of choice, or leave us a comment? You can find Talking WoW on Twitter or YouTube over at Talking WoW. Hope to see you again soon!